The Gaudeamus Muziekweek presents what young people are doing today, but also the development of music, so what they will be doing tomorrow or the day after.
This is the second edition in Utrecht, and Utrecht is a really compact city, which means it's, you can walk from one venue to another within 5 minutes.
So it's a week full of all kinds of concerts and presentations of music of today. Today we start in the open air with kites and connected to contemporary music performers and electronic music.
I think it's the first kite event which is not only about kites and about wind, but it's also about music and about wind. Like now it's 12 musicians and composers who developed a composition for the kite. So the kite is now not only a visual art into the out great blue open sky, but it's as well an instrument to hear the invisible and the unheard sounds of the wind.
This piece is a variation on a series of new projects I've been working on, which I've been calling cold pin, which are these large-scale mechanical installations that use piano wire stretched across large spaces that are activated by mechanical devices. Experience of a left to right music, and turns it into something that's more vertical, like you would think of as a sculpture installation. And when the two exist together, there's an interesting conflict that emerges between that.
What we wanted to do is have 3 concerts on 3 different locations. And you get about half an hour to get from the one location to another. So you can literally get some fresh air, which you'll need to listen to these heavy new notes.
Gaudeamus Muziekweek has a long history. It started actually shortly after the Second World War, where all the contacts of creative people were lost, and we brought these people together and started to organize concerts. And gradually this developed into this famous international festival where everybody is looking at what is happening today.
Well, it's a piece for retuned pianos, tuned in just intonation, and has a sort of epic structure that's based off of actually the way the pianos are tuned.
How can we create the right context for such a piece? I mean, if you're sitting on a chair, maybe you want to get out of the place in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So I said to Andrew, I want to do it, but I want beanbags. So the audience can lay around, relax a little bit.
Well, I kind of laughed at first. I thought it was very funny, especially when I saw on the website there were tags for the concert, and the 3 tags were microtonal, beanbags, hardcore, which I suppose sort of sums up the concert nicely.
So this year, for the first time, Gaudeamus Muziekweek asked the 4 main conservatories in the country to think of how they would like to present themselves. Because Gaudeamus Muziekweek is about young composers, not only the ones who come from China and America, but also we want all those Chinese and American and other composers to be related to the ones who study here. We try to find ways that they can learn from each other so that internationally everything gets better.
This piece was one of the pieces I did in just 1 hour of writing stuff down and sketching. The basic material was there and I just evolved it a little bit and prepared it for piano and a clarinet.
The concert was a piece of the composer Luigi Nono. So what we have is a wave field synthesis system. Wave field synthesis is a Dutch invention, and the invention is that it is a physical method to play sound in space. What this system does is recreate sound like, well, you can hear it around you now. What you hear are sound waves that are traveling through space. And our system does the same thing but recreates it in an electronic way. The second part of this day is a symposium, more like about the content of what can you do with composition and using space in a compositional manner.
Tonight, well, we did a presentation especially for Gaudeamus, where we did confrontation between musicians, composers and visual artists who for 6 months talked together about what to do in art today. And so even if we are an ensemble already existing for 25 years, what is important is to work with very young people, new people who again want to change the world.
The Night of the Unexpected is an event that focuses on contemporary music, specifically the pioneers in contemporary music. And I define contemporary music in a very broad sense. It ranges from composed music to improvised music, and from electronic music to multidisciplinary projects.
I made it together with a oud player, Kamal Hos, who wrote a melody based upon an old poem of a Moroccan poet. Of course, it's about love. So it's a cooperation based on an old Moroccan melody. Yeah.
I'm a carillonneur of the Singing Tower here in Vleuterweide. Normally it's a carillon with bronze bells, and this carillon bells are made of glass. You see 750 blue balloons, and that's just art. They don't make any sound. And you see red bells. There are 100 bells. 50 of them are tuned, and I use them in the carillon.
Well, I think the Gaudeamus Muziekweek has a lot of different listener experience with the Night of the Unexpected, as well as concerts outside with instruments that can be played outside. And I think this is all very good. Yeah, you really present your art to the audience instead of just waiting in a dark theater until people are arriving, or not.
Piano Dress, it's a new work that I created together with Tomoko Honda. Basically it's a conceptual piece, but I want to specifically mention that this is not about technology. Technology here is used to support the idea. It's the art piece where I wanted to cross the borders between different medium and pose the questions of the role of the pianist on the stage and the role of the instrument.
Actually, it's the essence of the piano playing, but which is not necessary actually physically playing the piano. So I would say 70% of the piece is about the piano playing gesture and then the essence of what it is.
Oh, Gaudeamus Muziekweek is an amazing, amazing event, and such a great platform for young composers. And basically I almost say that a lot of people, a lot of composers just almost directing their career towards it because it became such a central place. It's an old festival and very well internationally known festival, and has a very, very strong position amongst all young composers, and all young composers absolutely honored to be part of this festival. So yeah, that's where all the new things happening, all the magic's happening, and yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
We've just heard Ensemble Klang and Knalpot making a clash together. It was a clash of the titans, you could say. It was a pretty diverse program, and I think it was a tremendous effort been made working together, because they are used to working in an ensemble or with a duo, and this time they had to work together, and it worked really well for this audience.
So yesterday, before the rehearsal, we had a dinner together, and we were like, okay, we need a plan.
And we're just starting to build towards using a sort of live sampling process where we take pieces that Ensemble Klang plays and pieces that Knalpot play, and we build new things out of it. They become little bricks, little building blocks for something bigger.
This past week we have presented no less than 142 works by composers from 30 different countries. Not that quantity is of importance, and we are not like the Olympic Games where at the end the president always claims that these were the best games ever. But to be honest, this was a special edition. What a nice festival, but also what a good opening of the concert season. Because at the end of the festival we don't simply close our doors for the rest of the year, but we keep developing new music.
The winner of this year's Gaudeamus Prize 2012 goes to the work Alaska by Konstantin Hoyer.
Of course, it means very much to me. It's a great honor first to be here, and I'm now kind of surprised that I won this competition because it's a very well-known and big competition. I really enjoyed the time. I really enjoyed to get to know the members of the jury and other composers.
I think we've had a very diverse week. Gaudeamus Muziekweek used to be a composers meeting for just about this inch of the contemporary music as it is. And we've made it an audience festival, not just for Interme or for the in-crowd or for composers. No, it was an audience festival. And we made the whole contemporary music as diverse as it was. We've shown it here in Utrecht this week.
Over a short period of time, 1 week, we had such a beautiful view on the diversity and the quality and the fertility of new music of today. As the quality of the music, we are already happy. But then to also see that there's a lot of audience which reacts very positive to this and really embraces all these composers and musicians for what they are doing and pushing them further forward into the future, which gives us a lot of hope for new music for the future now.